This is the side of Batman that no one gets to see, guys, with the eye makeup and everything. So I built this Batman armory from the Dark Knight, and I showed you how I made it. And now it's time to show you step by step how I made the centerpiece of the armory, the Batman suit. Before we get started, big thank you to YesSoul for sponsoring this video. The Dark Knight suit is one of my favorite Batman suits shown on screen. I personally love the more realistic, tactical type suits, and this suit really embodies that, and like I said in my last video, it feels like what a real world Batman would actually be wearing. Not that I'm trying to become a real Batman or anything. That's ridiculous. Make sure you cut that out the video. Full disclaimer, I did not make this amazing cowl that you see here. I bought it from the very talented Gauntlet FX, which you can find a link to their Instagram down in the description. If you're interested in making a foam cowl, let me know down in the comments and I just might make a tutorial for it. All of the main body armor and panels are made out of EVA foam and some elastic straps to hold pieces together. I think it came out quite nice, and my childhood self is extremely proud of how far we've come from the days when I used to wear my sister's Batgirl costume and a Robin mask. So I think that's good enough for an intro. Let's begin. First step was getting a mannequin. You definitely can build a suit without one, but there's some real challenges with making a very form-fitting costume, and a mannequin will make your life so much easier. As I showed you in the armory video, I purchased this mannequin from Amazon for roughly $100. Once assembled, I put on a black spandex suit, and this is going to be the base layer for the suit. Now you'll notice the Dark Knight suit has a mesh material underneath all the armored plates. And after looking around online, there just wasn't a pre-made mesh bodysuit. So I had to contact my master seamstress of a sister, and I forced her to sew this against her will.
Let her go.
Okay, I'm just kidding, she wanted to do it.
Nice.
So I bought a few yards of this mesh material from Hobby Lobby, and my sister magically turned it into a bodysuit. So now we can overlay this mesh suit onto the spandex suit, and we're very much in business at this point. Next step is doing all of the foam work, which really is the bulk of this build. Whenever I build a full suit, I always start with the chest. It's usually the first thing people will look at, and it just helps with sizing the rest of the suit. So what I first do is sketch out a pattern, and once I'm happy with the shape, I can transfer it over to a piece of EVA foam and cut it out. For the chest, I used an exercise floor mat, which is roughly a ½ inch thick, and it just helps get a sturdier and bulkier look to the chest. Then I cut out these pieces here, which add a nice second layer to the chest to make it a bit more screen accurate. These are made with a 4mm thick foam. Once those are glued on, we can now put on the iconic bat symbol, which is also made of 4mm foam. And here is the completed chest plate. Now moving on to the abs, I started drawing and cutting out these foam pieces that make up the individual ab plates. I just do a quick test fit here with some double-sided tape to make sure everything was sized and can be spaced out properly. Now for the shoulders, fair warning, this was one of the hardest parts to make on the suit. But these here are the main pieces that you will need to create one shoulder pad. The shoulder is split into basically two pieces, the upper and lower piece. This piece here is part of the upper piece, and I just connect that seam together. Now I glue on this side piece here, which is then followed by this V-shaped piece that gets glued right on top. And now we can glue this liner along the edge of the lower piece. Once that's done, you can glue the lower piece underneath the upper piece. And after repeating this whole process, you get two beautiful looking shoulder pads. You can see here I also added this small triangular piece to make it a little more movie accurate. Before continuing on, let's talk about how to stay in shape for this suit. Because once you create it for your size, you want to make sure it fits you forever. And what better way to stay in shape than with this YesSoul stationary bike? That was a pretty smooth segue, wasn't it? This YesSoul G1 Max is the perfect way to bring the gym experience into your own home. With a range of features designed to give you an effective and enjoyable workout, this bike is suitable for all fitness levels. One of my favorite parts is the huge 32-inch screen that you can use to track various stats, but also can connect to different apps like Netflix or YouTube, where you can enjoy scenic views while biking, or for me, to watch scenes from The Dark Knight. The pedal resistance can be adjusted from 0% all the way to 100%, so no matter your level of experience, you'll find the perfect setting just for you. The best part is that it's nearly half the price of a Peloton. Plus, you can use code PropWay10 to get an additional 10% off. Whether you're just starting out in your fitness journey or you're a playboy billionaire that goes out at night and fights crime in Gotham, the Yesol G1 Max is the perfect choice. And now, back to the Dark Knight suit. Now I needed a piece that would lay around my neck and shoulders that would hold the chest plate as well as the shoulder pads. So I started laying out this brown paper so I could sketch and cut out a rough shape, and this has become one of my new favorite techniques when making suits. I ended up with this pattern here, and once I transfer it over to foam, I can start gluing pieces to it like the chest. And I can also start designing the scapula pieces on the back. These 4 pieces will make up one half of the back. So we can now start cutting and gluing the pieces together like this. And once that's glued on, it will look something like this. So one thing I totally forgot to record, and I apologize for this, is how I made the biceps and triceps pieces. But these are very simple and are just one piece of foam with some elastic straps glued on the inside to make a nice loop, just like this. So let's move on to the gauntlets. Again, I used this brown paper to sketch out the pattern, which turned out looking like this. This is just one half of the pattern, so I fold it over before cutting it out to make sure it's nice and symmetrical. This will then get transferred to a piece of 4mm foam. And after cutting out and gluing this main guard piece to it, we have a gauntlet that should look like this. You'll notice there are 4 straps with some Velcro attached, and that will be how you put on the gauntlet. I then cut out these fins out of 2mm foam. I wanted to make these out of foam because if they were actually hard, you might cut or poke someone accidentally, which you definitely don't want to do at a convention. But I guess if you're fighting criminals in Gotham, that wouldn't be so bad. And here are the finished gauntlets. So we are now going to go back to the abs. I laid them out on this brown paper to finalize the spacing between each of the plates, and then I sketched out all of these little strips between them, just as you see on the actual movie suit. And these are very important, not only because it's accurate to the movie, but it also helps keep the plates evenly spaced. So you can see I already cut out half of the pieces, which you can see on the left side. And now we start to glue the plates to this long centerpiece. And you want to make sure they are flush on the back side. And then after gluing all of the small pieces between the plates, your abs should look like this. So now the abs are done, let's move on to the neck piece. This is what the template looks like for one side of the neck. Once I cut those out, I connected them to this V-shaped piece right in the center of the neck. Then we can glue in some mesh between the gaps, and now you have a neck piece. This seam here on the back side is held together with Velcro. Almost done here. The next part of the suit is to make all of the armored plates that go on the legs. Again, I used more of the brown paper to sketch out a pattern. After transferring it to 4mm foam, I ended up with a layout like this, which we will end up gluing to the suit. So this next part here is optional, but it'll add a layer of protection and color to your suit if you're not already using black foam. I'm using a black Plastidip spray on these pieces, and I just put in a very thin layer to cover up some of the silver Sharpie marks. If you don't want to use Plastidip, you can use another method of sealing, or you can just go straight to hand painting it or spray painting or whatever you want to do. So here you can see all of my pieces laid out, and once your Plastidip has dried, you can start gluing pieces to your suit. I started by gluing the abs on. You can see I marked off with red tape exactly where I need to apply the contact cement before putting on the foam pieces. And same thing for the legs, we're just going to use contact cement to attach the legs to the mesh suit. Here you can see the panels do hold on pretty nicely. However, after doing a quick test fit later on, some pieces started coming off. So I reinforced it on the back side with some hot glue, and this will make sure it holds on very strong and for a very long time. And now we can throw on the iconic belt. This is the official Dark Knight toy belt, which I just bought from Amazon. Okay, so now is the moment of truth because I'm gonna try on the suit. I don't know if all the glue is gonna start ripping off, but you gotta test it out, right? Let's try it on. It also doesn't help that I just ate breakfast, so now my belly is probably a lot bigger, but... So now it's time to strip the mannequin down of all its components. And this actually does take a bit of time because there are several pieces and they are quite snug. This could be the end of the suit. It might rip. I had my brother assist me with putting on the first layer, which is the skin suit with the panels glued onto it. Ooh, I feel empowered. It's a little challenging to do on my own because there are zippers on the back that I can't quite reach on my own. Next, I can throw on the upper body piece just like a t-shirt, and then my brother helps me strap that in. A little flex for the camera. Now we put on the shoulder and bicep pieces. The gauntlets, please. Gauntlets get strapped in just like this. Okay. And now the neck piece gets put on. For all of you that question whether the suit could fit me, this is your proof right now. It's not perfect. Some of the panels I can feel are trying to lift off, but I think it looks good, and I'm really happy that it actually fits me and it isn't too tight. Now moving on to the final piece, and to some, the most important piece, the cape. I wanted to make sure I found the right type of material, and based on the shots from the movie, it almost looks a little velvety, and it really reflects light a lot darker than any other part of the suit. So I went to Hobby Lobby and found a perfect velvet-like material that had a little bit of stretch to it. I purchased 4 yards of it, which gave me enough to do a full spread out like this. So I simply laid it out on the floor, sketched out a rough bat-like pattern, and then cut it out with a pair of regular fabric scissors. To mount the cape to my suit, I chose to use Velcro. So one side of the Velcro gets attached to the suit and the other side gets attached to the cape. Now we can put the cape on and off very easily, and boom, we have a full Batman cape. For the boots, I just bought this pair of men's knee-length boots off Amazon, and now the suit is complete. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This suit and also the armory has been a project that I've been wanting to take on for years, and to see such a positive reception from everyone means the world to me. Please consider subscribing to this channel. It really helps me to continue making these tutorials for all of you, and I have so much planned for the future. As always, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. If you want to see more on how I made this Batman armory and all of its gadgets, check out my previous video.